So I thought I'd take the opportunity to revisit some of the basic Pilates I set. My principle is that if you do basic core recruitment, which is simple Pilates activation, you can then take that into any exercise, being weight training, martial arts, yoga, walking, running. And if you're activating and aligning your spine, your posture properly, everything is Pilates. You know, Pilates is the ability to activate your core muscles and then flapping your arms and legs around and making it really difficult to keep it activated. It's the practice of making that core activation easy, thoughtless or subconscious. So it's not about just jumping to high level, let's do some planks, let's do hanging leg raises, let's add resistance. Get the basics perfect so you don't even have to think. It's like breathing, because then you don't bend over and pick up a trainer and your back goes, because you had to think, I will draw my tummy in, I'll bend my knees, it should all be subconscious. You shouldn't have to think, and your body is learned to not activate those either through pain or through bad habits. But we need to re-educate your body by doing just 5 to 10 minutes a day of really simple work, some simple yoga to allow the body the flexibility and the range to put itself into the right place in terms of the joints and muscle alignment. And then the Pilates about the core activation and retraining your body and your nervous system, how it should be activating and how the body should be working as a unit. So rather than you're driving your car with your handbrake on, everything fighting each other and not working in synergy together, we want it to be in balance, which is why most of the homework you'll get from me is very simple. Because when you're ready for the advanced stuff, you can go in the gym and you can have a trainer and we can write you really complex programs, but if you're not doing the basics, what's the point? So basic lower body Pilates, level 1. So this is a revision. There is audio video of this on my Facebook page. So the real basics are, core activation is being able to engage your 6 core muscles. But for today's purpose, let's just think about the transverse abdominis, the muscles that are the core that sit underneath your 6-pack muscles. And what I want you to be able to do is just gently pull them down towards your spine. Now, you probably can't see, I'm not flattening my spine into the bench. If you've naturally got a curve in your spine or an exaggerated lordosis, that's fine. That doesn't have to be flat. But what it's not allowed to do is increase with movement. Because if you're flexing forward and back through your pelvis, or even extending forward and back through your pelvis, you're putting pressure on the joints in the lower back, which is then going to cause nerve irritation, which is going to cause inflammation, which is going to cause irritation, which is going to cause pain. So, core activation. Gently draw your tummy into your spine. Imagine someone's tickling your belly button, and you just have to pull your belly button away from their finger. Your job is to keep that activation even when breathing and talking, because it's not a of the breath, it's a pull down of the muscles. A bit like if someone poured cold water on you. The other way of doing that is to activate your pelvic floor. So if you imagine you really need the toilet and you're going to have an accident if you don't hold on to it, that's how you activate your pelvic floor. All of your core muscles work as one unit. So if you activate your pelvic floor, you will activate your transverse abdominis. So work out which works better for you. Prioritize that to start with, and then try and focus on both of them. And then we're going to think about the other bits later. But layers, don't overcomplicate things. Either tummy in or hold onto your pelvic floor. Bring the weight into the back of your hips. So where those dimples are on the bottom of the hips, just below your low back, that's where your weight should be. I tend to put my hands as a girdle across my hips. So my middle finger sits on the bony part at the front of my hip, just where there's a ridge below it, which is called your ASIS, your anterior superior iliac spine. My thumb sits on my dimples, which is just either side of my spine, which is your posterior superior iliac spine, or PSIS. So bring your weight down into your thumbs. My low back is touching because I'm flattening my spine, but I'm not pushing it down. I don't know if you can see the tilt. So there's draw down, and then there's push down. And I just want you to draw it into the table. Your job is for there to be no weight into your feet, for your shoulders to stay relaxed down your spine, your neck to stay long and your chin to gently be drawn in, like you're trying to give yourself a really subtle double chin. When you're learning this, don't stress too much about the upper body or the breathing, just focus on the pelvic alignment and the lightness in the feet. So my tummy's in, my tail is under, and exercise 1. Single knee lift, knee down. Single knee lift, knee down. I don't know if you can see, my hands are on my hips and they are not moving. There is no shift side to side. Okay? When I switch from one leg to the next, there's no tilting or rocking because there's no weight in my feet. So if you're getting that rocking, your weight's in your feet and it's too low. So if you need to, reset, return to your center and go back again. I always recommend alternating when you're learning this skill because we're not building your endurance yet, we're learning how to do it properly. When you can do this well, then start with alternating and then go into multiple repetitions on the same leg to introduce more fatigue. We can then add a resistance band to the leg to introduce more strength and stress on the body and make it harder. Exercise number 2, the straight leg raise or single leg slide. The centering is the same, tummy, tail, shoulders, neck, chin. Slide the leg down till it's straight, it just hovers off the floor, bring it back in, exactly the same on the other side. And there's no forward or backward shift in your hips at all. There's no pressure and no twist, and there's definitely no arching. Remember, the weight is too low. If you're getting an arch of your back, your weight's into your tail, down by your coccyx, it's not in the back of the hips, the PSIS. Okay? Third exercise, single leg drop out. So I start with my feet together. You don't have to, but I prefer this. And all you do is let one leg fall to the side. Obviously the center is the same. There is no sideward shift. Don't allow ego to take over and just desperately try and get the knee to the floor. I'm much tighter in my right hip due to old injuries, so I just listen to my body and allow the asymmetry that my body has developed over years. Yes, I want to improve where it can be improved, but I'm not going to force it for the sake of it. There's no weight in the feet, I shift side to side, I keep my core engaged, I keep my shoulders down. Okay? Those are your really basic level 1 lower back Pilates activation exercises. Level 2 core activation exercises. So you've practiced level 1, you're confident that you're doing it 90% perfectly. A little bit of variance, a little bit of concentration is fine. But remember, this is rehab. This isn't about being the best, being the highest level, being the strongest, doing the most reps. This is just about being perfect. So I'd rather you did the low level perfectly for more reps or more time than the high level just because you think you should. Because why would you pick up an injury because of your ego? Why would you re-aggravate your injury because of your ego? You would much rather be running or kickboxing or weight training or dancing or doing anything other than boring rehab. So do it perfectly, take your time, do it religiously, and then you'll get back to what you want to do.